Hey everyone, let's cover a couple of news stories and then jump into a universal remote review, possibly the Harmony replacement. First things first, Rotel looks to be jumping into the all-in-one home entertainment space that is rapidly growing in popularity. The new RAS 5000 is an integrated amp, similar offerings to other Rotel products, but has adopted a screen, HDMI, and streaming capabilities. It supports Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect, AirPlay 2, Google Cast, Qobuz, and thousands of internet radio stations, alongside HDMI ER connectivity, making it a real option for the hybrid user who doesn't need a full surround sound receiver, or the person who is more concerned about his music playback that is often hindered by the typical home theater receivers. It has all the connectivity you might expect beyond HDMI, coax, optical, USB, as well as offering a sub out. The power is stated to be 220 watts of Class AB power into 4 ohms, so plenty of power there to drive really almost anything. No word on the particular DAC inside, other than that it's ESS based. It comes in black or silver and is priced at $3,000. It looks like a nice unit. It's certainly not budget gear, but it's good to see companies adding more to their products. It's getting to the point that HDMI should really be about standard at this point. Now we have a Marantz chasing the same market with their new Stereo S model. This one lacks some of the features of the Rotel we just talked about and is actually down on power, coming in at 75 watts per channel, but may totally redeem itself with its extensive home theater features. It supports 8K 60, 4K 120, houses 6 HDMI inputs, dual subwoofer outputs, and if you feel like the amp power is a little low, it includes pre-outs for connecting your own powered amplifier. This one isn't going to include your track info on a large screen or anything like that, but it also comes in $2,000 less than the Rotel, roughly $1,000. It covers streaming with HEOS, which offers support for Spotify Connect, AirPlay 2, Bluetooth, Tidal, TuneIn, and many more. It has Zone 2 for integrations into a separate room, or even multi-zone simultaneously with A plus B speaker functionality. This almost feels like a new genre lately. The home theater, 2-channel integrated amp that can easily find its way into a hybrid movie or music space. It's not multi-channel surround sound, but for a lot of people, that really isn't needed or feasible in their space. The Rotel would be my pick if I needed power and less focus on home theater, but the Marantz is a connection workhorse and would likely be my pick for a TV first, music second setup. All the connections on an integrated amp like this is a rarity up to this point, but I'm curious if this is the direction we'll see more and more products go in the future here. Well, that'll do it for the news today. Stick around for a fun review on a remote that may solve a lot of your issues. If you're still clutching that Harmony remote from 10 years ago, but the battery is fading quick and it looks like it went through a trash compactor a few times, this might be for you. Harmony completely flew the coop back in around 2020, I believe, and nothing has really filled in the gap that they left behind. A lot of people are still using Harmony remotes, and they actually do sell for a premium used right now, but some of them have had their day and need replacement. And really, there isn't much out there if you're searching for something comparable in the universal remote space. What I want to show you today is a possible Harmony replacement by Sofabaton. Kind of a fun name too, Sofabaton. Well, that got a little weird. Anyways, the product is called the X1, and it's equipped in a similar manner as the Harmony, a hub-based remote. First, let's take a look at the remote. It's the right size, has a 2-inch screen at the top to select your activities from a scroll wheel. It also functions as a button for selecting your devices. Not a touchscreen here, but that isn't a deal breaker for myself. I owned a few different Harmony remotes, and the touchscreens were just all right. They were always a little bit laggy, and you had to be pretty precise, or you might start your coffee maker instead of your TV. This one has a similar feeling to a mouse wheel, so it's accurate if nothing else. That being said, there could have been some simple improvements here. I really feel like this should have been more of a small joystick that had up, down, left, right, plus the select. Right now, I have to shift my hand to the top of the remote to select back. It's sort of a strange location. If you could have just selected left to go back in the menu, that would have really streamlined things quite a bit. That or just move the back button closer to the center so I didn't have to shift hand positions to go back a menu screen. When you operate this, basically just picture the top quarter of the remote is activities and managing devices, and everything below the scroll wheel has your buttons for whatever device you're controlling. Typically, that's all you're going to use once you have things up and running. The rest of the remote covers all the usuals, and I think does a nice job. Volume and channel controls, menu options, favorites. The only thing really missing here is the number keys. I'm sure there's a few out there that'll miss this, but I really have no use for them, so it wasn't really a big loss to me. The remote has a built-in battery using USB-C for charging. It takes around 65 minutes to reach a full charge. Expect close to 2 months between full charges, but this could vary depending on your use case. It does come with a cable for charging, but no power brick. It may just be something that you keep close to your seating position. Just plug it in every once in a while to keep the charge up, or even a lot of furniture today comes with a USB outlet, so I can't see the battery life being a problem at all here. While we have the remote here, I want to highlight a feature that is awesome and I think should really be on every remote. If you have kids, you know the pain of the lost remote. Where did they put it? It could be in their room, it could be in the kitchen, or even in the trash. What Sofabaton did was add a Find My Remote button on the app in your phone. You simply go into settings and select it, and it will put out a loud beeping sound until you press a button signaling it's found. This is a really simple feature, but can certainly come in useful as the beep is loud. I could hear it across my entire house. So what do you get with this one? You get the remote, the hub, 2 USB cables, one for the hub and one for remote charging, a power adapter for the hub, and 2 sets of IR blasters. One has a single and the other is a double. The device is capable of transmitting IR, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi signals, although the Wi-Fi is still a bit limited as far as the library of connections goes. All of this is handled by the hub. If you're not familiar with hub-based remotes like this, the remote doesn't actually do anything other than direct the hub what to do. The remote doesn't have a built-in IR sensor, which would have actually been nice if it did, but that's a separate topic. What it will do is direct your hub to turn on and off your devices through the use of activities, which is really the highlight of owning a remote like this. You simply go into the app and pick the devices you plan to use for the particular activity. Set the power and input selections. Then, for example, if you're connecting your TV and receiver, it'll ask you how you want to use the controller. In this case, the volume controls are handled by the receiver, and the rest of the remote is used to control the TV, which is ideal for me in this case because it allows me to control the receiver volume, but also control all the built-in apps for streaming on the TV. You might be thinking, well, I can do all of this with HDMI ARC as well. And yes, you can, but not to the same level of customization something like this can offer. My example with the TV and receiver is a very simple setup, but the more complex your setup is, the more powerful a tool like this can become. To take it a step further, I use this Audiolab 6000A in home theater bypass mode to power my front speakers, but I also like to separate it from the receiver and use it as an integrated amp for bettering my music experience. This would require changing the mode on the 6000A from pre-power to integrated, then back to pre-power once complete to have this TV ready for the next person. With the X1, I can create more detailed tasks like power on the Audiolab 6000A, add a delay for it to start up, then execute the command mode a number of times to get to the correct amplification mode. That's the startup command. I can then add a shutdown command as well, basically just reverse it. Cycle the mode button to get me back to the correct setting for TV. I then turn off the amp. I wouldn't be able to do this with a single remote previously, and it really simplifies the process for other people in the house. No need to worry about inputs, and really you can just set this single button and it takes care of the rest. I think the app feature is also an upgrade over the cumbersome Harmony process. A lot of people likely forgot as it's mostly a set it and forget it situation unless you change your gear a lot. But with Harmony, you had to physically connect the remote to your PC to set it up. The X1 has everything available in the app, and it's mostly a simple process. A few of the questions you get asked about power and inputs can be a little confusing at first, but everything actually worked on my first try. I should also note that you're free to change any of the button functions or add anything that you felt was missed. Speaking of things that are missed, Sofabaton has a pretty extensive library of devices. Almost everything I connected was in their library except for my Audiolab 9000A. When you run into this, it doesn't mean that you can't integrate it, but it does mean that it's going to take a little bit more effort. The hub can learn commands as long as you have the device's remote. You basically just select the button you want to sign in the app, then hold the remote up to the hub while pushing it, and it picks up the command. Repeat that for each button you need assigned. Macros are also an interesting feature as well that can save you a lot of time if you need to change to a particular setting on your TV, for example. Toyd's DIY recently reviewed this remote as well, and he had an excellent use case for the macros. If I recall, he wanted to turn on the 3D for his projector, but it took something like 35 clicks to accomplish it. With a macro, he could program all the clicks into a single command, then assign it to a key. It makes tasks like this really simple. The library, like I mentioned earlier, is pretty good. They support over 6,000 brands and 60,000 devices. They have a search page on their website for you to check compatibility. That was a bit hit or miss, and it's likely just not quite up to date because I found that they actually had built-in support for more products than they had listed. When I searched my Audiolab 6000A, it comes up as not supported, but in reality, it was available in their library and good to go. They also mentioned that you can reach out for additions. No idea how quickly they add it, but it's nice that the option's available. This one also supports voice controls, but it's honestly a bit limited at this point. There's no mic built into the remote, so it will depend on your Alexa hub, for example. That part's okay. I have more than enough of those around, but the part that needs work is the commands. Right now, you're basically limited to turning the TV on and turning the TV off. A further expansion here, letting users run activities, would be a really big improvement. I think that's everything I wanted to cover today. It's not perfect, but neither was the Harmony, and I think this might be the best replacement available today. It stores 50 devices and 50 activities, handles IR, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi, has an extensive library, and some nice features to simplify complex setups. It could use some things like I noted, such as possibly reconfiguring the button layout, adding IR to the remote, and a mic, but in reality, it does all the things I need it to, and I didn't have any issues during the setup. I was honestly expecting the setup to go much worse, so I was pleasantly surprised. From what I gather, Sofabaton has come a long ways since it was initially released to the public, so as long as they keep innovating and improving the software, I think this is a good option for a all-in-one type remote solution. Well, thanks for watching today. Please like and subscribe so we can grow this channel together. Take care. Later.